Back students once again to your YouTube channel. Yes, today I'm back once again with a new video on your class 10 ICSE syllabus. Okay, today I shall be discussing a poem from your ICSE syllabus. This is called When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou, and this is from the book Treasure Chest, a collection of ICSE poems and short stories. But yes, before I begin, let me remind you, if you have been finding my videos helpful, kindly do not forget to give me a like and also to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It shall keep me motivated. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. The poem is on page 43, When Great Trees Fall. Now, this poem is very interesting because this poem was written by Maya Angelou when her friend James Baldwin, who was not only a friend to Maya Angelou but also a fellow writer and a national right activist also, the person had passed away. Okay, and Maya Angelou composed this poem to be and she ensured that she read it out during the funeral of James Baldwin. Okay, so let's see what the poem is about. I'm in the About the Poet section on page 43. In her poem When Great Trees Fall, Angelou speaks of loss as a traumatic yet inevitable part of human experience. You cannot escape death. It is the part and parcel of life. If you are born on this earth, you will have to die. One that leaves despair and misery in its wake. Angelou uses the metaphor of a falling tree, falling in the jungle and its effect on the fauna, that is animals, to describe the enormity of death, the impact, profound impact of death, and its impact on those struggling to cope in its aftermath. When our near and dear ones, die, they leave, and they cross the rainbow bridge, we are not only sad but also confused at what happened all of a sudden. So the poem is about that, how to cope with that sudden loss. However, the poem moves beyond the emptiness and sense of loss to offer hope for healing in the concluding lines. The concluding lines of the poem are they existed, we can be and be better for they existed. When we read the poem, we'll understand the meanings of these lines. These lines actually mean that we should be grateful, we should be thankful that these people were there in our lives to guide our path. And now that they have gone, it is our responsibility to live up to the expectations what they had of us. They have had certain values, certain principles in their lives, and they always try to instill those principles and values in our lives to make our lives more meaningful. Now that they are gone, it is our responsibility to lead life on those righteous paths. These words give new meaning and seem to bring fresh purpose to life. Angelou declares that because this great soul existed, we can be better. Readers are comforted by the assurance that others who have felt such grievous pain have not only healed but been made better human beings simply from having known the great soul. We might never be the same again, the pain and sorrow may never leave us, yet the memory and influence of the great soul will linger. They will continue to shape and affect our lives. Angelou declares that because this great one existed, we can be better versions of ourselves. So there is this idea to evolve, to grow, to stop being the frog in the well. Alright, let's see. When great trees fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants slumber after safety. So, Here, great trees refer to huge trees. They are actually a metaphor for the loss of a significant individual, of a great personality, of a near and dear one, of an individual whom we hold in the highest of regards in our life. So when great trees fall, when huge trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Shudder is to shake. Lions hunker down, lions crouch down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. Lumber is to move around, in a slow and awkward manner. So the literal meaning of these lines is when big trees fall, what happens? Rocks get shaken up. Even lions, try to hide themselves by crouching down and hiding themselves amidst the grasses. And even elephants try to take shelter. They try to move away to safety. This is actually a metaphor. These big, great trees are actually a metaphor of a towering personality, of a great individual. When such individuals die, when such towering personalities leave us, we tend to feel a sense of void in our lives. And it is not just we. You see, the poet has consciously made use of these ideas of the rocks, the elephants, the lions, and the elephants. These are consciously done by the poet. Why? To bring out the fact that rocks which are so solid, so firm, unmovable, lions which are so powerful and mighty creatures, elephants which are almost invincible animals, they even feel the impact of the falling of a tree. The point of comparison is being that when such great souls depart, everyone, no matter how big or how powerful you are, you feel the loss. Alright. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil in silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. So when great trees fall, we've seen what happens to the bigger animals and the rocks. How do the small creatures react? They become too shocked even to be scared. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, sterile, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. When great souls die, what happens? The air around us becomes light, rare, and still. The air itself seems to be, numbing. It devoid of life. We breathe briefly. Figure of speech alliteration. Breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see a hurtful clarity. So even we feel that as if the pain is so benumbing that we are getting choked. Our eyes are too hurt to see the sorrow affairs right in front of us. Our memory suddenly sharpened is alliteration, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. When these personalities were perhaps with us, amongst us, they were living, we had perhaps tried to say a lot of things to them. We have tried to convey a lot of kind and good things to them. But then circumstances might have been such that we were not in a position to convey or tell what we felt about them, the good things. Perhaps we have made promises, okay, I'll go out on a walk with you someday, we'll have a lot of fun, we'll discuss a lot of things. But suddenly the person decides to leave. And those memories keep coming back to haunt us. That we had promised, we thought that there is time enough to do a lot of things. But one fine day, suddenly the person decides to leave. This particular section reminds me of the movie, MS Dhoni. I believe most of us have watched it. And MS Dhoni, if you remember, when MS Dhoni was meeting the first woman, okay, the first woman would, ask them, MS Dhoni, to, set up this union or arrange for the union. But then MS Dhoni would always delay things by saying, हमारे पास बहुत time है. So this girl would question back, you're sure, right? We've enough time in hand. And suddenly the girl meets with an accident and MS Dhoni never gets the opportunity to contact her ever again. So that is it. We should, whatever we are feeling, we should convey it right away to the person. We shouldn't wait for the right moment, right time. We never know when the person is going to breathe his last. So that is what the poet is trying to convey here. We had made a lot of promises, lot of things to this person, but then one fine day the person goes away, and then we are left with all those memories which keep haunting us back. Now you notice something very interesting the poet has done here. First, she has talked about the impact of falling trees on larger creatures and entities such as the rocks. From there, she's gone down to talk about how these falling trees would impact the life of small creatures. And now from there, it has come down to the life of a human being, of an individual. So there is this gradual progression. Okay. Another very interesting thing which I wish to highlight here, see, in this third stanza, the poet has consciously made use of we, our. What does that mean? That there is this sense of collective loss. It is not an individual's loss when great souls depart. Okay, the great soul has been inspirational and instrumental in changing lives of not just one individual but of many. That is why the loss is not individual but for everyone. That is why the poet uses our, we here to bring out the idea of the immense loss. Alright. When great souls die and our reality bound to them takes leaves of us. When individuals die, when such individuals die, we had a perception about life when they were around. They had a particular take on life and we knew life from their perspective. So when that individual goes away, that point of view is completely shut. Now we start seeing life from a different perspective altogether. Alright, so when these souls leave, when these souls depart, we have a gradual shift in the paradigm of our vision, of our ideas, of our outlook towards life. Our souls dependent upon their nurture now shrink wizened. We were in the habit of being nurtured by them, of being guided by them. But now that they have gone, our safe spaces, our go-to places tend to, shrink. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance fall away. We were constantly, taking in their opinion, their ideas, because they were senior to us. They have seen life more than us. So we would constantly go up to them and our mind would be sharpened by their views, widened by their perspective. But now they are gone. All that is gone. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of the dark, cold way. So this sense of loss is extremely confusing because now there is lack of guidance. What has our life become now with their departure? Unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. ignorance. Okay, cold caves is alliteration again. When great souls die, after a period, peace blooms. Period, peace, alliteration, slowly and always irregularly. With passage of time, we can come to terms. We learn to come to terms to the loss. We learn to deal with the loss. However, that is irregularly. Spaces feel with a kind of soothing electric vibration. We learn to live with it. But somehow the devoid always remains. Our senses restored never to be the same, because the devoid, the gap, the sense of loss is always going to be there. Whisper to us. What do they whisper to us? They existed. We can be and be better for their existence. And the sense of, this sense of loss, that this person actually existed in my life. This person had this point of view about this particular thing. The person would respond to this situation in this way. He held these principles, he held these values towards life, he had this outlook towards life. These would be the guiding stars of our life now in their absence. And these values, these principles will motivate us to be a better version of ourselves. They will help us with a new purpose to live. They will provide us with a new meaning towards life. They will help us to evolve into better individuals. Alright. So, a loss of a near and dear one is definitely a profound loss. But then, what does it leave us with? Not only pain, not only anxiety, not only confusion, but also with a new meaning to lead the life in a better way, through their teachings, through their values, through their principles that they upheld in their lifetime. Alright, so that's the poem for you, my dear children. Now let's look at the themes of the poem. The first theme could be, of course, loss, grief and acceptance. Loss of a near and dear one, the immediate effect of it would be grief, and then how we learn gradually to accept the loss. The second theme could be seen as individual greatness and cultural changes. Since the person is of a towering personality, he is a great soul, great individual, he has a particular outlook towards life. His outlook is instrumental in bringing about a change in society. The third one could be influence and legacy, how he is going to influence the lives of the others that are left behind, and of course his legacy of his thoughts, legacy of his values, legacy of his principles. Healing and renewal is your fourth theme of the poem. We learn to deal with the loss and we get a new meaning towards life through the teachings and principles of the person had held in his lifetime. And finally, the role of memory, how we wish to remember these individuals in leading our life from now on. Coming to the title of the poem, of course I told you it is a metaphorical poem. Here great trees refer to the the great souls. It is a metaphor for the great souls, and what happens when they fall? Like when a great tree falls, its impact is felt by not only the rocks, the mighty animals such as the lions and the elephants, but also the small creatures and the humanity, and as well as human beings. Similarly, when great individuals depart, though we are left with a void and emptiness, yet their principles and values continue to guide us in the course of our life. Alright, so that's the poem. I hope I've been lucid enough with my explanation. If you like this video, kindly do not forget to give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, do not forget to share the video with your friends who might also get benefited before their exams. See you in the next video very soon. Till then, take very good care of your health and goodbye.